Hey, Goat Knucklers, welcome back to what's the name of the show, Lisa? I just forgot. Goat Knuckle Talk with Flo. Just kidding. I am Flo, and I just mentioned Lisa. She's my co-host, Lisa Nolan Hafner. How you doing?
Good, Flo. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. Who's this young, and I mean young-looking guy, good-looking kid on our show tonight?
I know tonight's show is super special for me because I am so proud to introduce my cousin, Jerry Serrano. And so he is the son of my mom's much younger brother. So his dad is closer to my age anyway. I'm really proud not only that he's my cousin, but also that he's such an accomplished musician. So we're really honored to have him. So Jerry, tell us what year you graduated and where you're living now.
I graduated from Plainview High in the year 2000, right around the Y2K time. I live in Lubbock now.
Okay, wow.
Wow, 2000. So Lisa, you're not graduating 1983. That makes what four? We're just 4 years older than this guy, right? Right? Oh no.
Old compared to him.
Yes, we are.
We are
So
now
welcome, Jerry.
in the senior citizen range. I know. Anyway, so we're so excited to have you. So, um,
Hold on. Time out. Time out. Happy birthday, 60th birthday, Lisa. She just
you,
turned 60 Saturday. I forgot to mention that. So happy birthday.
Happy
thank
birthday.
you. I appreciate it. I'm really excited. I'm all in one piece. I'm intact, barely. And I'm excited about this new decade. And you missed a great party, Flo, and I really wish you'd been here. But
I understand. Hey, maybe Jay can grab his guitar at the end and sing happy birthday to you. But anyway, let's start back to the show. You go ahead, Lisa.
so, Jared, for viewers that don't know him, and a lot of viewers know you because we've had other musicians who are actually even older than us. We've had a couple of musicians who've mentioned you and your music and have probably worked with you. One of them is Curtis Peoples.
Right.
Yes, and so he mentioned you, and I'm like, we've got to bring Jerry on. And I want to go back to the very beginning of your music, your love of music. So, did you start band in sixth grade?
I did. I started on the cornet. I don't remember. I guess we all started on the cornet instead of the trumpet in the sixth grade, but I had a lot of fun with it. Louis Armstrong was a big influence, someone that I was already listening a lot of at the time.
Wow. Okay. So at that ripe old age of 12, how did you get into Louis Armstrong?
So one of my sisters, she had a school project um, on Louis Armstrong, and so she had now we're going back to the '80s era. She had a cassette tape of his greatest hits, and so for her presentation, so she did her presentation and had the music going on during it. But after her assignment was done, I kind of maintained ownership of that cassette tape, and I would play that thing over and over and over and over.
Could you did you have an ear for music? Could you listen to it and pick it up, or you're only 12, but as you got older, can you just listen hear notes or again music and just easy to play?
Well, I had a little keyboard in the first grade, and because if go back even farther, earlier than that, I remember being in church and kind of like moving my fingers like to the music. I didn't know what I was doing, but I felt like I wanted to do that, like it was something that I knew that I had a passion and a path um, to do. So I had a little keyboard, given a keyboard in the first grade, and I would kind of like listen to the radio and try to play along, and like you said, by ear. And so I did that for a long time. And by the time sixth grade came along, I was already kind of used to being able to hear and discern what was happening at the time.
Very cool. So was this your sister Julie?
It
That
was.
okay?
Yeah.
Cool. See, I'm going to learn all sorts of things about you. So who was your band director in sixth grade?
Miss Bearden, June Bearden. Yeah. And interestingly enough, her husband, Keith Bearden, was the band director at Texas Tech, where so I would graduate Plainview High in 2000. I went to Texas Tech. So then Keith Bearden was my band director. So yeah, I got
Oh
to
wow.
both
And
of them.
he was the son of what's the dad's the one that was over tech in the 80s, 70s and 80s, I think. It was Bearden. What was the dad's name?
Can't remember. I can't remember, but we've had several guests mention him. Wow,
Oh.
you really went full circle, didn't you? From
Yeah.
sixth. So while you were in band in sixth grade, did you ever meet him?
I don't believe that I did, but I did see him here and there in when I was around high school. There was they assembled a marching band for 4th of July. Texas Tech did. And so they would invite people from the community, like I guess like high school band members from the community to join this band for 4th of July. So I met him around then and here and there a couple of years and got to know him a little bit. And so it just kind of made me more excited about going to Tech when it was time.
Very cool. So did you change instruments through your middle school and high school band time?
Yeah, so 6th grade, I started on the cornet. In the 7th grade, we were moved over to the trumpet. And in the 8th grade, I was having embouchure problems. And so it was suggested that I try the euphonium. And I ended up really enjoying that instrument and played that all through the rest of high school. I played the euphonium in the concert band and the trumpet and jazz band.
Okay, I was in band. What the hell is euphonium? What the hell is that?
It's a baritone horn. It's the one where you kind of hold it like this and the bell goes,
Oh, okay, okay.
kind of like a little tuba.
That's no fun. So cool. So what kind of music did you guys play back then in your high school, like your senior year?
Oh man. Trying
Uh-huh.
to
That
remember
wasn't
that
on the list,
far.
was it?
No. I mean, I was trying to think of our show my senior year, man. I don't even remember what our marching show was, but it was fun. I do remember that. Um, couldn't tell you, man. That was a long
Who's
time.
the band director then? It was no
It was
T.
Mr. Hurt, Barry
Okay.
Hurt. Yeah, Barry Hurt. And so I was in the honor band with him, euphonium, and jazz band. Mr. Franklin, Cliff Franklin was the band director for the jazz band. So that was a lot of fun. I do remember we moved to a new band hall my either sophomore or junior year. There was a new band hall built south of the main building. And that was really cool, being one of the first musicians in that building.
South. Okay. I was trying to picture where.
I have a
Yeah.
I know we're gonna have to go to the high school to do the tour when we're in Plainview in July. So
Okay.
Mike, we've done several band shows with people from our generation, and Michael was in band. And one of the things that they did back in that era was take a trip to, is it Corpus? Is that where y'all
Yeah,
went?
we did a spring trip.
Yeah, did you
Uh,
trips like that where you went and played like? Did y'all ever go to Corpus? Did y'all go on out of town trips
any
over?
trip in your
Did,
spring.
yeah. One of my favorite ones, probably my favorite trip that we did was we went to Colorado and we got to see Mesa Verde and did the Durango to Silverton train. That was really cool. And we played for an event there, a band's thing.
Where did y'all play in Colorado?
I don't remember the location. I
What
just
city?
remember I
Oh,
just remember seeing being on the train and thinking, wow, this is amazing. Being around Plainview and there's no mountains, and then all of a sudden you go somewhere like that and there's mountains everywhere. It's a big, like, whoa, what's going on? This is different.
Probably played in Durango.
Yeah, probably Durango.
Yeah, probably Durango. I've done that trip and it's pretty marvelous.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it's
well, Lisa mentioned uh, we. I went on one trip my freshman year, and then we went to Corpus, and then we marched in the Buccaneer Day Parade. So we just we it was like 3 days or 4 days. It's just beach, living in condos, and yeah, go to the grocery store, buy your own food because you had to cook your own food. You had to do everything. So and then we marched in the parade, and then after my freshman year, I was on varsity baseball, so I wasn't able to make any more trips. But I know they went to San Antonio one year, but they kept going to Corpus. So uh, yeah, they got a lot of kids got in a lot of trouble with that way. That was a lot of fun.
I wonder from between our generation to yours, like, well, I guess it would also depend on band directors, like what kind of trips they would take the band on. And did the whole band go, or did you have to be in honors, or was it in
It
company?
was, I believe it was the whole band would go. We also did a trip to Florida and played at the Gator Bowl.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Yeah,
You,
that was a lot of fun. Really long bus trip, but it was a lot of fun.
my God, y'all went on a bus to Florida from.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 300 kids. You know how much that would cost to fly?
I know. Oh, wow, wow. Was it straight through, or did y'all stop and spend the night somewhere?
I feel like we probably had to, but I don't remember. I do remember that we did stop in New Orleans and they let us like have some time to walk around and stuff. And which I think is kind of interesting now as like as an adult that's like, hey, go have fun to some high school kids. So, we walked around and was like, saw some musicians. It was really cool. It was the daytime, so we didn't get into really any mischief or anything, but um it was a fun time.
So
Well, as a jazz
go
lover,
ahead.
I probably loved getting to go to New Orleans.
Do what?
I said, as a jazz lover, I'm sure
Oh
you.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
So
So the
was
musician
that your genre? Is that what you like in high school? Is
Oh
jazz?
yeah,
Did you
I
like?
was I've always kind of been um all over the place musically. I have a lot of different genres that I like to listen to and to play, but jazz has always been up there, up there with some of my favorites since I was a kid. And so uh, I had my own band as soon as I picked up a guitar, and we did anything from Nirvana to Green Day to Better Than Ezra, Stone Temple Pilots. But then I also like, well, kind of later in high school, started a jazz band. So I've always loved it.
You just
Cool. What
named
was your name?
favorite bands.
Well, I was gonna say, what was the name of your bands?
Let's see. The first bands that I had, I think we named it Lithium because of the Nirvana song. I was so into Nirvana. I got every single album that came out, and try to play along to all of them. And let's see. The next band was called Jive, and that was the jazz thing. It was good drums, piano, bass, guitar, and then I sang and played trumpet and guitar, and there was a sax, two saxes and a trombone. So that was a lot of fun.
All the player, band members, all from Plainview.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
we
that's
were all in
cool.
a band together. So anytime that we had a little bit of free time at the band hall, we would, jump on the drums or keyboards and, play around.
So my question is, did you have long hair when you were
I
playing?
did. I did. It used to be, it was around here for a minute. And even in college, I think the last year that I had it semi kind of longish around there was maybe '04 or so. And I guess I got tired of it. So I started just going short for a while.
Well,
And
what gigs? I mean, where did you your gigs? Where did you play, or who'd you play for?
so in high school, we would kind of make our own because there weren't a whole lot of places for high school kids to, play in a band. There was a coffee shop. Ooh, I want to say it was called Coffee Smith, something like that, kind of by on Fifth Street, where Walmart used to be, kind of behind, like west of that building. So we would play there. We played there a few times. Um, we used to go set up at the gazebo where Kidsville is and play out there just whenever. It's like, hey, let's go play at Kidsville. So we would get all our equipment and set it up and just play. Um, play at friends' houses. We did that quite a bit when people would have parties and that kind of thing. Um, we
Y'all ever
played at the movie theater even.
did y'all ever perform at the high school?
We did. Let's see, my senior year in high school, we played the Red, White, and Blue Review, and the band Jive did. That was pretty fun.
But did you guys get paid to perform?
Ooh, I don't think we ever did. Nope, I don't think we ever did.
That's interesting. Yeah, because we had some classmate. Well, they're older than us, 82 guys. I think they're all 82. They had a high school band called the Rampage, and they would play around. And they played, I think, that same gazebo. And actually, there's a picture that they shared of them playing in the gazebo. I think it was Battle of the Bands or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, Lutez and Scott and those guys, they played that same gazebo
That's
that you
right.
did, Jerry. But I think they got paid though.
Yeah, well, good
You
on
had a
them,
bad manager.
I suppose. Yep.
Well, Jerry, you played all my favorite bands. I'm a huge Nirvana. I mean, to this day, like those are all my favorite bands. And I'm like, maybe it runs in the family, but I mean, my musical interest runs the gamut from A to Z, from classical to jazz to hard rock to, I am not a big country music person, but I do like, oh, you shut up. I do like Willie. I have an appreciation for it from a musicality perspective. I mean, I love who doesn't love Willie Nelson, right?
Right.
Or Johnny Cash. Um, but I mean, it's not my preferred genre of listening to. Anyway,
Oh,
go ahead.
I just want to say I would go back to jazz. Besides Louis Armstrong, who else did you like back then? Who was your like top 3 or 4 jazz bands or dudes?
Definitely. Okay. So, um, back to band directors. My eighth grade jazz band director, Mr. Giddens, Willis Giddens.
Oh, he was still around back then.
Yeah. So
Wow.
he gave me my first Miles Davis album, and that completely, like, I was already into Louis Armstrong, but this was a whole other way to play the trumpet and to be an artist. And so once I found out who he was, I tried to find everything that I could. And this was before, Spotify and all that stuff. So, you know, any album that I could find, I would get it and listen to it.
Okay. Any others?
Let's see. Um, Nirvana is a big one. The Cure. I was so into The Cure.
Oh my God,
Yeah, Cure School.
all-time favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In college, I was still really into The Cure. And so I did my makeup just like Robert Smith, and I had big hair at the time, so I like poofed it out. And I dressed up as Robert Smith for Halloween, and my band at the time did some shows like that, all cured out.
What was the favorite song you liked playing from them?
Ooh, well, I still play Love Song,
Okay.
but we used to do Fascination Street, and
Ah,
some of the pop, like more like famous ones like Friday I'm in Love, or uh, Pictures of You, that kind of stuff.
You
I
must be
always liked how they have layers in their music. There's a guitar doing something, there's a key melody. There's always something like layers of things happening.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how complex their music is. Aren't you so excited that they've reunited and put out a new album?
See, I didn't even know that. I'm out of the loop on The Cure. That's cool.
their first album in 17 years. It's out right now, and they're going to tour again.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Is he still rocking the makeup?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. And I listen to an independent radio station, and you can stream it. It's KXT 91.7 here in Dallas. It's independent music. It's not it's a curated station, and they play all of their new EPs that have come out from that album. So you should check it out. I'll send you the link.
All right.
I
That's
You
cool.
know, growing up in high school, back in our generation, it was the hair bands. You know, had seven. Well, you started back in the '70s, disco, and then the Eagles and America and those guys, and then we went into the hair bands, and that's in high school. And then I went to tech. I started uh, slowly listening to new wave because I started going to Club 100 or the Planet. I got the name of it, and that's where I learned about the Cure. I like Morrissey, the Smiths,
Yeah.
uh, tone and tone or whatever. But I've got like about maybe a dozen 25-inch LPs singles still from the '80s, and those things cost like $25 back then. So Tone and Tells was in the Tone and Tells. Who's the guy that sings Pretty in Pink? Um, not Depeche Mode, but anyway, no, I got big into
The
new
psychedelic
wave.
furs.
Yeah, psychedelic furs, yes. And then after that, I went to rock, back to rock, and then the country, and I've been stuck on country ever
Hmm.
since.
and that's what's wrong with you.
Nope, love country.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when you graduated high school, I mean, you knew by then that you really wanted a career in music.
Yeah, that's right. It's all I had my mind and heart set on.
And so,
Why is that? Why is that?
It's all I had an interest in doing. I never did well, actually I take it back. I did football in the seventh grade, but that, because it was a requirement to do some kind of athletic thing. But everybody else hit puberty and got big, and I didn't, so it wasn't in the cards.
you tell us what you got your degree in.
Music composition. I studied composing at Tech and wrote music for a lot of chamber music, quartets, quintets, trios, duets, and some electronic music as well.
So, just as a composer, not music that you've performed, as a composer, have you had a lot of that music played and published by other musicians?
Performed, yes, but not recorded or played in public by anyone. I had a student friend commission a piece for me for her senior recital, but no, I have my degree and I haven't really, like, as a composer, written a whole lot in that instrumental music world.
Okay. So you haven't sold any of your compositions.
No.
Okay. Well, come on. We're going to promote you. Start selling your compositions.
There's your manager.
Yeah.
There
Hey,
we
so do you
go.
also inquire, Jerry?
Do what?
Do you also inquire?
I never did choir. I was a very shy singer. So those bands I mentioned in the that I started in the eighth grade, I was the singer, but I never did choir, and I wasn't much of a singer. And so I practiced a lot and, worked hard at it. And now I feel pretty good as a singer. And I teach singing now. So we've been on a long road in that regard, but I never did choir, no.
So
So
once you
you go
like
ahead, Lisa.
once you were did you ever take singing lessons?
That was my question. Yes.
Did you ever take any vocal lessons?
No, I never took any vocal lessons growing up. I remember thinking about, improving my voice when I was in high school, and at the time, Mr. Hurt had this strobe tuner by the podium where he could, listen to the instruments and tune them, and it's, these wheels. And I know from being an instrumentalist that like a fuller tone has more fundamental overtones in it. So I remember thinking, well, if I'm singing with more fundamental overtones, that's a good thing. So I remember trying to like play to them and make more of the wheels stop, as in like being in tune. And I remember like um, trying to sing with like imagining a bigger sound, like a more full sound in that regard.
Basically, you trained yourself.
I suppose.
Hey, I'm sorry to be. I don't want to be rude, but my dog came in and grabbed something, and he's gonna start chewing on it. So you keep going, Lisa. I'm gonna grab this thing from him. I'll be right back.
Started college, knowing that you were going into music composition. I mean, I'm completely ignorant to the music world. I love music, but I don't have any kind of musicality other than I can dance. Um, what I'm assuming that there are other degree plans besides music composition.
Right. There's music education, music performance. Education is probably the most common music degree to
Okay,
have. And it's what band directors, people that are interested in becoming band directors, get the degree in music education with teacher certification.
okay. So what interested you in going towards music composition versus music education?
Because I'm a songwriter and I've always been interested in writing music. Um, Back to when I got that little keyboard in the first grade, I would make up melodies and um, notate them. I didn't have notation paper, so I wrote lines on paper and then wrote, notes on that from being a kid. I've always been interested in writing music.
Okay, that's awesome. So did you get an advanced degree once you got your undergrad?
No, I just have my undergrad. Um, got my degree and went, straight into I've been performing in Lubbock since 2000, but I continued performing, and as one would imagine, there's not some like company that hires someone with composition degrees right out of school. So I had a minimum wage job at Paul's Parts, selling and working on bicycles and cleaning up around the place. And
Oh,
yeah, went up from there. Do what?
starving artist.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry, you were a starving artist.
Yes, yes, indeed, with the little efficiency apartment in South Overton.
Oh my gosh. So when you started college, you filed your degree plan, you're getting music composition. Like what was your goal in terms of a music career? Like what was the end game for you at the time? What were you thinking in your mind? I want
Right.
to do this.
Just to be able to do what I want, record, write and record music and teach and perform in any genre and style and medium that I feel like doing. And I'm so thankful that I get to do that now. I'm teaching and I'm playing jazz and I'm playing some country and some rock here and there. And it's been a wonderful time.
And you're playing some Spanish music.
That's right. Yes.
I
And
scrolled down your Facebook page.
that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
I have some buddies. So, right around the mid, like around 05, 07, one of my friends uh, started a band called La Masa. And we used to play all over Lubbock. And it was all Spanish music, boleros, all kinds of like, let's see, like Latin rock. We kind of went all over. Traditional stuff like Vicente. We would play all of that. And so, um, over the years, people have moved away. Anthony, he's down in the hill country. Our drummer friend Eduardo, he lives in Houston now, so we don't see each other as often, but we do still get together from time to time. And a few months ago, we did a run of shows down in the hill country.
Very nice. So
So I did. Hold on. I gotta ask a dumb question. La masa, is that flour dough, or was that tortilla dough?
Yeah, the dough.
The
So it was
tortilla dough.
Anthony. It was Anthony's
So no, it
idea.
wasn't menudo, but it was la masa.
La masa, because he was like, and I've never heard this phrase. if you're caught like con las manos en la masa,
Yes.
like if you get caught with your hand. So it was like kind of a play on that phrase, but I never remember hearing that phrase, but I guess it's a thing.
It's a kind of a slang phrase, and I think in Tex-Mex, I think I'm not
Like, don't get your hand get caught in the cookie jar, kinda.
kind of, but in Spanish, it's like you
Yeah.
it's caught in the dough. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I guess like caught in the action, that's what
Interesting.
So this is a hypothetical question, sort of like with your great interest in music and your talent and your songwriting ability. What were you ever interested in going to like Austin or Nashville where you could, sell your music or have a
New
great
Orleans too, maybe.
Oh, I mean, I've visited there and I've played, I haven't played Nashville, but I visited in the airport. That's far as I've gotten. That's a bucket list thing. I still haven't really been much in Nashville, but I've never really wanted to be somewhere like that. I guess because I'm a small town kid. It just feels like too much driving and not enough quiet. So I don't know. I I sell my music online and I perform and teach here. I'd love to travel more and tour more, but I'd never felt a huge interest in living there.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's something that I really admire about you, that you have not that you're so talented, but you really honor your talent and musicality without chasing fame, because there are some people that their talent is here but their desire for fame is here. And whereas you've stayed really true to your art form, and you've kept it pure, and you're and still in touch with your hometown roots, and your West Texas upbringing. And that's something to be admired, that you haven't chased the fame like that. And I think a lot of musicians lose themselves. I mean, if you could go back through history, look at all the musicians who have died really young because they were super talented, but they chased fame, got famous. It really diluted their music and their talent, and ended up getting lost to drug addiction and alcoholism. And
Yeah, they couldn't handle the fame. Yeah, absolutely. They couldn't.
I mean, I admire that. I would never in a million years want to be famous. Ever, I
Mhm.
wouldn't want that notoriety. I like my privacy and
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
So in other words, you weren't like Ralph Macchio in The Crossroads. Did you ever watch that movie?
Dude, I love that movie.
Yeah. So you weren't Ralph Macchio.
Yeah. The soundtrack is really good too, man. The
Yeah.
whole soundtrack, not just the ending big scene when Uh,
Yeah. That's a cool movie. You
yeah, it
ever you
is.
ever watch it, Lisa?
No.
The Crossroads. It's an '80s movie. It's really good.
Okay, so now I have to watch it after this. So, how many instruments do you play?
Well, I like to say that I only play, there's only a few that are public worthy. Like,
Mm.
I guess I could say I sing, I play the trumpet, piano, and guitar. And I consider the Hammond style organ its own thing because it has its own like signature things like language and technique behind it. The trombone to some extent. Um, I would probably leave it there. I did a little bit of clarinet and saxophone in college, but I wouldn't consider that public worthy.
What about the guitar? You mentioned earlier that you played guitar.
Yes, guitar. Did I not say guitar? I
Yeah.
play
Yes.
guitar.
He did. He did mention that earlier. And yeah, are you left-handed?
Yes,
So because he plays the guitar left-handed, correct?
that's
Or is that
right.
yes?
This is
He
me.
plays it. He plays it the wrong way. So I mean, what's his name? The bassist for the Beatles. He's a left-handed bassist,
Paul
Paul
McCartney.
McCartney.
Yeah.
Yes. So you don't see many left-handed players.
No. So actually, when I first started playing guitar, I started out right-handed because that's the way that it came strung, and it felt so awkward. And then I remember that I guess I saw that Kurt Cobain was left-handed and Jimi Hendrix was left-handed. So then I was like, well, I'm left-handed. I should play it the other way. And I flipped it the other way and started playing like that. But then I didn't reverse the strings. So I learned with the strings upside down, playing backwards. And I think I busted a string and I took it to Ziegler's and they strung it lefty style for me. And I learned it that way. And playing left-handed came a lot easier than right-handed. All of a sudden it started to make sense. So that's where I left it.
So, did you take guitar lessons or are you self taught?
I guess I'm self-taught. I would look at the Guitar World magazines and look at the tab, and then I guess so I would read off of the magazines, and then my friends that was in the band that I started, he had already been playing for a few years, and he was taking lessons. So he was like, "Here, there's this thing, and this is a bar chord." So I would kind of pick up a couple of things from him, and then just practice a lot and listen and try to figure things out.
Very cool. I just really envy and admire anybody that can play any kind of musical instrument. It's so foreign to me. I mean, I love it, and I have a lot of rhythm, but the idea of actually playing an instrument is just something that I don't know that I could ever grasp. So it's kind of a mind blowing thing for me.
So, hey, I'm going to go back to high school. You marched in band, of course.
Yep.
Can you share any funny stories back when you marched? Uh,
Man,
nothing.
I remember, so we used to always have the big, the big part of the show. We were in that big, I guess it was called the power line, the big line. I can't even remember now. It was such a long time ago. And we had a lot of flags, people that did the flags. And I remember there was this one big flag that would go over the bands. And it took one of our tuba players out, man. I guess like maybe it was too low or he wasn't ready and so he fell back during the show. I don't remember who that was, but that was pretty funny seeing after the fact, watching a video of it.
He didn't get hurt, did he?
No, he was fine.
Yeah.
It was more embarrassing for him, I suppose, than he wasn't really hurt or anything.
Now, did you guys have props back then? Because nowadays,
Yeah.
y'all did.
Yeah, we had let's see. We had chariot. What was a chariot? Something for some reason we had a chariot. Might have been Spartacus.
Oh, nice.
We did a Spartacus show. And yeah, so I remember seeing chariots. Man, I know there were props. I just can't remember.
Yeah. So when I marched, we didn't have those. Our claim to fame is my sophomore year. The We lined up. I think there was one long line,
Yeah, the
and
line.
then the cheerleaders, the twirlers, the flags, and the rifle. At one point, will lay down in front of that line as they're marching, and they would step over them.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and I was lucky enough. My sophomore year, we went to state and marched in Austin, and we missed it by one place. I think they took the top four bands and they played in the evening, and I think we got like fifth place. There was
Mm.
just one place not playing in the evening. So yeah, it was pretty cool. My freshman year, I was the first year they allowed freshmen to march ever. So I was the first, and then our sophomore they didn't allow the freshmen. So that's why I believe that we did so well because everybody was experienced. We didn't have new group of kids coming in and try to teach them. So we're all experienced with the state. So it's pretty cool. So
Awesome. I remember seeing the floating PHS.
mhm.
Did y'all do that in the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing my older sisters. Well, actually, it probably was before them because Mr. Hurt was already there, and I don't believe we did that. Didn't do it when I was there, but I remember thinking how cool it was that they were making letters and having them go down the field.
Nice. Yeah. Do what? Say it again, Lisa.
Were you in band with your sisters?
Julie she had already graduated by the time I got to high school, but Christy was there. Yeah, she was 2 grades above me.
Okay. Well, how cool to get to be in band together.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I want to go back now to tech. You marched. So how was that, marching in the college level?
It was quite different because in high school you get to learn your show and it takes, a while. You do part of it and then the next game you do a little bit more and the next game. So you get that whole semester to develop your show for contest. But at Tech, we learn a new show like very quickly. I don't remember if it was like every week, but it was pretty fast. And at the time, I think we started using the digital, charts. I think maybe my last or second couple of years of high school, but where you have directions, of where you go. Uh, and that's how I guess we were able to learn them quickly. But I remember thinking, oh man, I got to remember this. And I would have dreams that I was like, they would change the routine and I would turn the other direction and somehow be all, I guess I still have dreams that I'm late for a game and I can't find my horn, or my shoes are missing.
Oh, wow.
That's funny.
The shows, Michael, I said I still dream that I can't find my locker in high school. I mean, here, 42 years later, I still have high school dreams. I can't find my locker. I can't find my classroom. So, I'm not surprised that you still have band dreams.
Oh
More like
yeah.
nightmares for you guys.
Yeah.
Were there any other Plainview classmates? Maybe not the same grade, that went at Tech when you were there, marching a year older or younger?
So I had a friend Anthony. He went to Tech as well when I did, and he played the trombone. I want to say he did trombone the first year, but he didn't pursue a music degree. So I can't remember if that's true or not. But we would hang out. I was in Walgate's dorm, and he was in Hewlin Clement, and so we would always hang out then. At least my freshman year.
Who was the quarterback then? Was it Kingsbury?
Yeah, Kingsbury.
Yeah,
He would I remember there was this one time he came up and conducted the going band. He went up on stage, like, I guess after a game or something like that, or maybe it was probably after the game, and he came up and did that while we played the fight song.
that's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Again, going back to high school now, we were, during basketball games, they get a little small group to volunteer and play at the home basketball games. Did you guys do that as well?
No,
How do you
no.
play at basketball games? Wow,
I
that's
remember when my older sister Julie was in band. I feel like I remember seeing bands then, but I don't remember playing for any basketball games.
yeah. I played every one of them because I wanted to get in for free and watch the game because I had
Yeah.
friends playing basketball. So we did that, and uh, guess that's really it. I can't even think anymore. But I was lucky. I was able to do band and sports because band was in the mornings, and then I did sports in the afternoons, football. Played a little basketball, and then of course baseball. So that was a lot of fun.
So, for somebody who was not in band, when you go to UIL competition, is it just one competition, and then if you win your preliminary, you keep advancing, or are there more than? Is that kind of like an end of the year thing?
Well, like marching contests, you have I guess, the first one, and if you get a one there, you can advance to area, and then if you advance to area, then a select number of bands are chosen to make it to state.
Okay.
And then so when you get to state, there is the prelims, and then he said like was it 4 or 5 bands get chosen for finals, and I feel like we did my sophomore year, we made it to finals, and that might have been the last time. I don't think we made it to state my senior year.
So where was that competition finals?
That's a good question. I don't remember if it was Austin or San Antonio, but it was down there.
Well, my son graduated high school. When did he graduate? 2018 maybe, or it was state was in San Antonio because they went to state one year. So I remember driving over there and watching them march. So, but that back when I was there, it was Austin. So
Those are fun. Oh, so we've had several, like I said, several shows with band people, and there was a big deal about who's riding on what bus to out of town games. Did y'all have that where everybody's rushing to sign up which bus you're gonna get on to ride to the out of town games?
I don't remember that there was a big thing. I feel like there were certain buses that were like the cool buses or whatever, but I don't really remember because I feel like there might have been a similar thing at Tech, like all the percussionists. They're called Zit, the people that
Zit.
were in the percussion at Tech. So Zit, they were on this bus, and so I guess if you were friends with Zit, you wanted to be on that bus. Um, but no, I don't really remember being a big thing about the buses. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
It just
we're trying to schedule one called Bus Three because I think that was a Hispanic bus. So we're trying to get a group of Hispanic classmates of ours to do a show on Bus Three. 'Cause, there's some locos in that bus.
well, as I mean, I went to the games on a bus, but we went on a teeny tiny little bus for the cheerleaders. But when we got back home from the games, we heard all sorts of shenanigans that occurred on the band buses. Yeah, lots of
A
things that
lot of hickeys, a lot of hickeys. I'm not going to say who, but there was a lot of hickeys on Monday.
well,
So was the streak still alive when you graduated?
Yeah, so I was part of 59, 60, 61, 62
Cool.
of the
What
streak.
what did it what how many years did it go? Do you know? I don't.
No, I kind of feel like it went till, was it like the teens maybe? I don't remember exactly when it ended.
So it was a sad day when I heard
what was this? The streak? What streak?
number ones
Consecutive ones in
once.
March.
Oh wow. Okay, that went
Yeah, I
on
think
a long
I
time.
believe they had the long at one point they had the longest streak in the nation. I think. So I mean I'm not sure. So anybody watching this, please comment below and let us know if we maybe had the longest streak. But anyway, hey, so let's talk about now. You're a professor,
Yeah.
correct? And you
That's
went
right.
to
I teach at South Plains College. I'm an instructor in voice, piano, and songwriting, and I have a worship band, Latin band, and a vocal ensemble that I run.
yeah, I saw that little YouTube clip, like a minute clip. There's two kind of vocals. One's more religious. I think you mentioned. Can you explain
Yeah.
that more in
So
detail?
the worship bands, is that what you saw?
Well, you were explaining what you were teaching.
Yeah.
It's a South Plains YouTube clip. So
Okay. So there's the worship band. Oh, there's the Latin ensemble. Yeah, the worship ensemble is focused on learning Christian music, contemporary Christian music, like leading worship for churches, people that are really interested in learning that and maybe possibly pursuing that as a career, entering ministry. And so when I started in 22. Um, I have got a lot of friends that are in that world, and I called them up or messaged them because I was really wanting those students, to get real world experience if they hadn't already played in churches before, just so they know what it's like. And we started playing worship nights at all these churches around the area, and it's been really cool to see that grow and the interest in that group grow. The Latin ensemble I started this past semester, and we cover kind of like La Masa. We do a lot of different styles of Spanish music. We did traditional, we did cumbia, we did ranchera, we did bolero, we did Latin rock, and that's really what I want to do is show them like all the different colors of Spanish music that they can learn, Latino music that they can play.
Please tell me you played La Bamba.
We didn't play La Bamba.
Oh man, no Richie Valens, huh?
No, maybe next semester.
How'd you get the gig? Job.
There was an opening, and I've been around here for, over 20 years, and so I've made a lot of friends that teach there, but I've never gotten the job. I applied maybe one or two times before, and it's a great job to have. So I saw that there was an opening and sent my application and hoped for the best and ended up with the gig.
Good for you,
Well,
man. Good for you. It sounds like you enjoy it immensely. So good for you. All right, then what about the Blue Light Live?
So I teach, I run the songwriter night there every Monday, which is it's an open night for anybody that writes their own music, and it's their stage. All they have to do is bring their instrument and their voice and sign their name on the list that they want to play, and we'll get down to them and they get their chance on stage. It's a lot of fun. We've got people of all ages, from college age to people in their 70s sometime that just want to come and play, people that enjoy writing and sharing their music.
So this is like an open mic night, but you
Right.
have to play your original music.
Yes. So yeah,
And
that's the cool like special thing about it is that it's originals only all night. And so it has this reputation. And so people come there with that expectation that's like, this is cool because it's different. We're not going to hear like let's say if we go to an open mic night, we might hear a lot of the same type of covers that people like to play, but songwriter night, it's their own stuff. We don't know what's going to come. We don't know what's going to happen or who's going to show up.
was this your idea, or is this
No,
something you
no.
just?
They started running this night in '09, and so it already had a reputation on its own. And there's an annual songwriter competition that they have, and I won in 2015. The guy that was hosting at that time, he was in law school at Tech, and he graduated, passed the bar, and was ready to pursue his career. And I guess I was the next one up, and I've been hosting it since 2016.
Oh, cool. And this is at the Buddy Hall Center area, I guess.
It's in that area. It's in the Depot District, a couple of doors down from the Cactus Theater, 1806 Buddy Holly Avenue.
Well, I got two more questions based on that one. Who's the farthest, like from what city have they come to play there?
There was a girl from Belfast,
Ireland.
Ireland. Yeah, yeah. She
Wow.
just she just happened to be in town, and I think her friend was going to Tech, so she went to visit her friend, and then I guess looked it up and saw that we had a songwriter night and went up and played. And I was like, "Well, this is awesome! You're from all the way from Bel," and she was really good too. I can't remember her name though, but she was really good. There was this guy that used to come every fall for our competition, and he came from Boston.
So people like well, that one was there, but like the guy from Boston or people from out of town, it's all word of mouth, or I mean,
Word of
how do you
mouth,
guys
yeah.
promote it? Do y'all promote this night? In other words,
Through social media, through shares, through word of mouth.
okay.
One thing that I started that I really enjoy doing as a host is I take little video clips of everybody that performs and share it on my Instagram. And some people have gotten gigs that way, where they'll message me like, "Hey, how do I contact this person? I'd love to, them to play at my venue." And you know, it's all about helping each other out and growing your community. And
Cool.
so I feel like that's helped grow the songwriter night on its own as well.
So my other question to that part two or second question is, has anyone made it big or made it a career out of it? Maybe become a songwriter in Nashville, or yeah.
Let's see. Josh Abbott used to go there. That was before I started hosting. William Clark Green, um, Randall King, more recently, Flatland Cavalry. They're out there right now in Nashville doing some really cool things.
Nice. So no big names ever surprise y'all and just show up on a Monday?
Those guys, I would say they're big names, and
Right.
they'll sometimes show up randomly, or there'll be like a rumor like, "Hey, I heard so and so's in town," and they'll just like I mentioned a Flatland Cavalry. They were in town for I think it was a fundraising event, and showed up, and Tech football coach McGuire was there with them, and I guess the word got out and the whole place filled up like it was a Saturday night. And Cleto, the singer of that band, he went up and played some songs and had the whole room singing along. It was a blast.
And
Wow. What
what year was this?
Oh, maybe last year.
Oh,
He
see, yeah, you got
yeah,
social media to do all that. I told
yeah.
the story just 2 weeks ago that Garth Brooks, when he started getting big at the beginning, I was playing the softball tournament in Clovis, and we heard. Again, I may have said this wrong. A few days later, we were back in Lubbock. That he played there under the name Yukon Jack. So
Really?
he just went to some hole in the wall bar, and back then we didn't have cell phones. There was no social media. It was payphone. All
Yeah.
right, buddy, get off so I can put my quarter in or whatever it was. Yeah, and he showed up and just unannounced at this little honky tonk and on a Yukon Jack, and by the end of the night, it's like the whole city of Clovis was there.
That's
wow, how
awesome, man.
Yeah.
so neither one of you guys know this, but when I was 32, I moved to Berea, Kentucky, and I bought a little restaurant called the Cardinal Deli. And once a month, I hosted open mic night.
Oh, cool.
Totally unrelated to my business, but there's a lot of music in Kentucky, and so same thing. I mean, they did a lot of covers, but I also had a lot of original singer songwriters, and every age from teeny boppers to really old timers who could barely crawl in with their walkers. It was the most amazing experience to watch these musicians. They stole a lot of things from my store, but anyway, that's the story. I have to get on the mic and say, please do not steal from me. If you're hungry or thirsty, come see me. I will feed you, but don't steal from me. But it was my passion and love for music. I'm like, what else can I do with this place? And it just grew legs. And that was the most fun I had running that restaurant was my open mic nights because I got to combine my two passions, cooking and music, all in the same thing. It was pretty. I guess we're really related, Jerry.
Suppose so. I mean,
But he's talented though. Just kidding.
well, I can't cook though. You don't want to see me cook.
So I was going through your YouTube, and you did a song "Vintage Wine" on the fourth on Broadway TV special in 2020.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that?
Oh, let's see. Was that, I guess that was during COVID. Um, Don Caldwell put together this TV special. I can't remember if it was for Lubbock Music Now or another show that he was doing. And so he had a number of different musicians and singers that they featured for that program. And Vintage Wine was a song that I'd entered for a compilation album called Lubbock Music Now that um, you apply for every year, and there's a selection process that if you make the album, then you're featured, and then you get videos and a little bit of press from Civic Lubbock. That's a cool deal. Vintage Wine was also on an album that I released in 2015, I believe. Um, it's just a love song, you know?
And also, you also played on "Good Day to Lubbock." I mean, I'm just again going over my notes.
Yeah. Good Day Lubbock. It's a morning show, and they feature artists all the time, talk about what's going on locally, and it's a cool spot to be.
Cool. Now, Curtis Peoples, as Lisa mentioned earlier, mentioned you. Can you tell us, share a little story of how y'all's paths crossed?
Curtis was playing in a band with some friends of mine, and I guess that's how we met. And was like, "Oh, you're from Plainview. I'm from Plainview. Wow, small world, man. It's cool." And we just stayed friends, since that was maybe the early 2000s. And I recorded with him. I played some trumpet on some recordings of his when he was at Tech, and we just kept in touch. And I guess he's not in Lubbock anymore. He's retired and moved away.
He's in Nevada, Wyoming, and he plays a little still. Like I said, we had him on our show 6 months ago, maybe last year. So,
Awesome. Yeah, he's
do
a
what,
great.
Lisa?
Again,
Say it again.
repeat again. I thought he was in Oregon.
Oh, okay, maybe
Might
he's
be
in the
right.
Northwest somewhere,
Yeah,
somewhere in
that
the
sounds
Northwest.
right.
Yeah. He was in Denver though for a while, and then he moved on to the Pacific Northwest, I believe.
And he's I'm sorry, Doctor Peoples. My apology, because he got his doctorate in music. So yeah, it was pretty cool having him on, and then we had him and his friend. Uh, oh geez, I see what happens. You can turn 60, you lose your memory. I
Well,
know
I'm
he's
already
known as Uncle. He's known as
transitioning into
Uncle Nasty.
33.
I'm
No, oh my God. So, what right now, currently with you teaching, like, what's the most rewarding thing about being a music professor?
Seeing it's not necessarily always the most like gifted students that like people that already come with a great deal of ability. I mean that it's fun working with them, but I love seeing somebody who maybe they don't have a whole lot of confidence, but there's a little spark in them, something that I think there's something about this person, and watching them grow in their abilities and in their self-confidence, that's like for me one of the greatest things, once they believe in themselves, all of a sudden what they can bring to the table can skyrocket.
Oh, that's cool. I'm a teacher of a different sort, and I always tell people that it's the most rewarding thing is to witness that kind of transformation, to be the witness to that.
Yeah.
The most rewarding thing. So that's very cool. What's the least thing you like about being a music professor?
Hey, no, I'm
Hmm.
kidding.
I haven't had any like argumentative, knock on wood, I don't know. I haven't had any people that argue with me or are rude or anything, but I suppose the no-shows, that's not fun.
They just don't show up for class?
Yeah, it's like, dude, well, I guess when you're in college, you don't always make your classes, and so that'll happen from time to time.
Is it maybe because they have got to perform that day? They don't come in, or they just don't come in at
Oh,
all?
it's because you're a kid on your own for the first time with freedom, and you don't always feel like going to school. But it's
And
music. You would think that this is the most fun thing that you get to do.
Right. But you remember in college, sometimes you have a hangover and you can't go to school.
I suppose.
oh, Greg
Could be a
Stone,
big part of
Greg
it.
Harding. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Greg Stone, Greg Harding. Sorry, just remember. Sorry, Greg, Mr. Uncle Nasty. Yeah, that was a very colorful show when we had those two on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I want to know who is the most famous musician that you've met or worked with.
Met probably would be Paul English, drummer for Willie Nelson. Um, I was playing as a keys player for my songwriter friend John Bauman, and he had a few shows opening for Willie Nelson. I never got to meet Willie, but I met Willie's guitar tech, and I met Paul English, Bex. He was just hanging outside of the bus, just chilling, and the world's most famous roadie. He's passed away now, but his name was Ben Dorsey, and he was a roadie for Elvis, even.
Oh, geez.
That guy had some stories. He was a cool dude, but he was hanging out with Willie's group back then when I was doing those shows. Um, but yeah, I got to see Trigger like up close and personal. I was within about this distance away from Trigger. I didn't touch it though, but I was tempted. But I was like, "Ooh, no, I don't want to get tackled."
Did you ever go to South by Southwest?
No, I haven't been to South by. It was right around, I think it was right around COVID. I had a couple of shows that was like the week of or the week before, and I was going to try to stay and do a little bit of that, but then everything got shut down and I never made it back. And now it's like, I don't know, everybody that I know that's been around there, they always complain about the parking and the fees. And I don't know if that's something I'm like super interested in doing.
Yeah, because we have a classmate, Alex Gonzalez. He lives in Austin, but his earlier years he was volunteered a lot and during the music South by Southwest, so he really enjoyed it. And actually, our very first show we had was a musician show with Alex and oh geez, Richard Rubio, and Richard at age 60. I don't know if he's 60 yet, but he's playing in a band, an '80s band in Amarillo. So he's still kicking on the bass.
That's cool.
Yeah. And Alex, man, what was cool about Alex, his house, he's got a room it's set up like a studio. So he has friends coming over like almost every weekend. They just jam. I mean, it's just getting together and playing music, and so it's he's still living the life of a musician, even though he's like a big project manager for a big engineering company. So
Gotta have fun.
yeah, absolutely.
Jerry, you play a lot of gigs in Amarillo, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, there's a few places that I'm at quite frequently in Canyon as well.
And when you play there, what music genre are you playing?
Usually the jazz thing, it's either jazz duo, so I would be singing, doing guitar and trumpet, and then my bass player, or the full quartet with me and bass, drums, and keys.
Okay. And so, who do you when you go to Amarillo or to Canyon? Are you usually playing at the same venue? So
Yeah, yeah. There's a place in Canyon called Mickey's Place that's an Italian restaurant. That's a lot of fun to play. And in Amarillo, we've been mainly sticking with a place called Drunken Oyster. It's kind of like a Cajun theme seafood type of place.
okay. And so, do you reach out to them, or do they call you and ask you to come and play? Or
My bass player does the dealing with them, but I believe when we're there, we'll update a little bit if there's some that aren't booked out yet. We'll get some while we're there.
have y'all been? Do y'all ever do weddings or events? Like,
Quinceañeras.
We have not done a quinceañera, but we've done a whole lot of weddings and private events over the years. We just did a fundraiser for Amarillo Symphony last month. That was pretty cool.
So you see, Lisa, did you hear that? I say quinceanera. He says quinceanera.
right, because he knows how to pronounce it correctly. Quinceanera. Oh my gosh.
Well, you know what? Let's take it back to high school, not the band. Let's go. What kind of student were you besides a band geek? I
I
mean,
was, well, I was
Brainiac.
I suppose when I was younger, I was in the gifted program, but something happened. I don't know. Math got harder, I suppose. So I wouldn't say that I was like super brainiac. I was more of like a quiet kid. that I did okay, but I wasn't like up at the top or anything. I wasn't way up there grade wise. I
Well,
was
isn't
more
mathematics and music go hand in hand?
well, in theory. My thing was like let's say with algebra or something, I would always forget like one little step or forget one little detail, and then the whole thing would be wrong. It's like, no.
Oh, cool.
Besides music, was there any other subject that you enjoyed in high school?
I liked history and art. History was a lot of fun. I like learning about cultures and different time periods. It's even when I travel, I like to find like museums or old buildings, old architecture, and find out what's going on there.
See, because we're trying to compare when we graduated, when you did, was it still dry or was it a wet county?
It was dry.
It was still dry. So I assume you guys still went to Nat. Well, I don't know if you're a drinker,
No, I never did in high school.
but some classmates, I mean, was it still Nazareth, the place to go?
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
what I
you heard,
heard. Yeah,
yeah, what you heard, yeah.
yeah.
Um, one of the questions we ask everyone is licks. Did you ever receive any in high
No,
school? No.
good kid.
See, Lisa? See, that's a good kid. What
I
happened to
was.
you?
Now, I had the long hair though, and for part of the time, I was a goth, a quiet little goth kid that wore black all the time.
Did you have eyeliner?
I did the whole thing, man. The
Woo!
eyeliner,
The
the
black nails.
black nails. Yeah. And then I think I might have been a sophomore or fresh. I don't remember, but I got sent to the principal's office and they made me take it off. And then I don't think that I ever bothered with it, at least at school. 'Cause it's like, yeah, that's the
So who's
fuss.
some of the people you hung out with? And what did y'all do on the weekends back in 2000?
We would jam, man. Well, in 2000, I was at Tech, but in high school, we would always, that was my favorite thing to do is go to my buddy's house and just jam. Um, in eighth grade, the dude that I had a band with, he lived right across the street. So that was like the most exciting thing. It's like, hey, grab your amp, we're gonna jam, and we'd go hang out and um, just try to learn stuff, or just play music, or just jam, or other musician friends, grab my amp and go to their house and play music. That was the most fun thing that I, did.
Yeah, because I mean, we grew up. We dragged Fifth Street. We went to the space station or the fun station, or and in early years was Gibson's parking lot. So yeah, there was a lot of hanging out and drinking. So I mean, that's
I
our
remember a lot of people went to the Jibo's parking lot.
which that used to be Gibson's
Was that
back in
Gibson? I
yeah.
I feel like maybe I went a couple of times, but I was never really into that. Um, I remember going to Kidsville, in high school just to run around, or the Kettle. We used to always go to the Kettle.
The Kettle, is that like a restaurant or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like right off the interstate. It's not there anymore, but it was this diner, and we would just sit there and drink coffee and hang out.
We when I got in the country with the Barrera boys, Martin and Jesse and some other guys, after Midnight Rodeo, we would go to the Kettle because they had all you can eat breakfast buffet. So we were there like at 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
They had one or two. I know one for sure in Lubbock. So we would fancy there after a night of consuming beverages.
Terry can attest because he knows my mom, super strict parents. I didn't do any, all the things Michael is describing, I did not do. I was at home. So I didn't participate in all the high school activities unless they were school activities. None of
Yeah.
that. Riding around, no Gibsons, no nothing, no concerts, no parties, no dating, nothing, nothing.
There
I'm
was
the total opposite.
there was a coffee shop on Broadway for a little bit called Upper Room Coffee House. and it was in that building. I can't even remember. It's that the one that had you open the door and there's those stairs that go up to the second floor. We used to hang out there quite a bit because it was a neat little spot.
I don't know if
It was like right around the corner from the building that had Quick Lunch Diner, but now it's Broadway Brew.
yeah.
Right on the corner from there on Broadway.
Oh, that would have been a cool place to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's a place in Houston off of Montrose. It was a black lab. It was an Irish bar, but then there were just stairs that take you to the upstairs, and they played jazz. I went once, and I like jazz. I love jazz, but this was more, I guess, called fusion jazz, when they just, they just move their hands and play music fast. So I
Maybe
assume
you're too
that's
much
what.
caffeine.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So exactly, it's all it is. I'm like, okay, that's just not the jazz I'm used to listening to. But what kind of car did you drive back then, or did you?
Yeah, I had a 85 Dodge Ram van.
Fan?
Yeah, it was the family van, and I got my driver's license. It wasn't being used, so it became my van, and I put band post. I took out the back seats, so it was the two bucket seats in the front, and the back was open, and I put posters all on the inside. Soundgarden, Nirvana, STP, all the bands that I liked. I put posters of them all over, all on the inside, and I had it all open, and so we would put like when we traveled, we put our music gear, or like my drummer friend, he would put his marching stuff in there I guess if we needed the room or something. That was the van, man. It was fun times.
Did it have a name?
No, I've never been into naming things. I don't even name my guitars.
Your buddies didn't name the band either. No one gave it a name, huh?
I can't think we did.
Oh, cool.
Should have been called the Grunge Band.
That would have been a good one, yeah.
Yes, STP, Soundgarden, two of my favorite all-time bands. I still listen to them to this day. Yeah, I should have been called the Serrano Grunge Band.
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Oh my gosh, what did you do with that van?
I had an accident not long after it was I had it made, what, maybe a year, and I was crossing a road and I didn't see a car and I got T-boned. So
Oh,
that had a sad death.
you were okay.
Yeah, I was okay. The other person was okay, but the van was not okay.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sure that was a very sad day for you.
Yes, it was sad, and you know, I think my dad was at work or something, and I had to call me like, I had an accident. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was not a fun conversation.
Your dad's so laid back, though. I'm sure he was not very reactive.
I don't remember, but I know that he was happy that I wasn't hurt at least.
Yes. Well, I had an accident in college, and all I could think of was, oh my God, my parents are going to kill me. And my dad was like, I don't give a shit about the car. All I care is that you're okay. That's the only thing that matters. But, after I got over the whole trauma of the wreck, the next day he said, but I'm not buying you another car. You need to know that. You're on your own. And I was like, oh, wow. Then the impact of losing that vehicle really hit me.
see,
So,
my dad would say, "Por qué?" I would reply, "Por pendejo." Kidding. I'm just joking. So, I had teachers, high school teachers, and then we go to college. Special high school. What, any teachers influence you or
band,
impacted?
Well, I was trying to think of teachers that outside of band, of course. I liked Miss Hooper, but I can't remember if she taught like history or social studies. I think it was history. I just remember having really good discussions. during her class that, really made you think about the world and that kind of thing?
She was our classmate, Andrea Hooper.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
That was because she's the other classmate who's mentioned him. And she's mentioned him on Facebook a couple of times. And I've said, Andrea, that's my younger cousin. She's like, what?
Oh,
I know Andrew taught in Plainview.
She graduated with us. That was our classmate.
wow. That's really cool.
I know. So I will make sure to reach out to her to say, you've got to watch this show because guess who mentioned you as an influential teacher?
Oh, that's pretty cool. She'll love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She definitely will. That's anyone else?
Man, all I can remember is my band director teachers. You
Cool.
know, they were great influences and mentors for me.
Now, where did you start in grade school?
Say that again?
Grade school. What school was it? Like College Hill or
Oh, I was
uh,
in Hillcrest.
Hillcrest? Okay.
Yeah, and I've heard it's being torn down. I
Is
Hillcrest
just,
it?
is gone.
yeah,
Gone. Lakeside is gone.
yeah.
Yeah. They've torn
I
down
went
quite
to,
a few of the schools.
I
Well, I'll
So
tell
was
you. Go ahead.
Hillcrest, Lakeside, Ash,
Ash
uh,
is,
Coronado,
Edgemere.
Estacado.
Well, I'll
yeah.
tell you a little fun fact about Lisa and our class, because the schools were segregated back then when we were in grade school in the 70s. Well, whatever, our fifth grade year, they desegregated and sent all the fifth graders to Lakeside, all the sixth graders to Ash, all the seventh to Coronado, all the Estacado, and then, of course, high school. So we were the first class to start at the first level in fifth grade. And for in
Wow.
our 40th reunion 2 years ago or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, um, I reached out and they found out that we were going to take our photo there in front of the lakeside because they were going to demolish it, but they stopped it. They waited for us to take our photo, and it was in the newspaper and everything that they were the first class to start it back in fifth grade. Now Lakeside is gone.
I know it's so sad.
I wonder if there was ever any time capsule things that were buried down there. Because I remember that being a deal. Like, I remember doing that at some point with somebody, like have this time capsule that you put like bright letters or, things that they were cool at the time. And supposedly you're going to open it up at some future date. I wonder if there's something down there.
I agree because Michael, I think we did a time capsule for our year that we graduated
Uh, Not that I know of, but I think someone mentioned that in our show, one of our shows
about
that
doing it.
they did. I don't think they dug it up, but they said they put some things in a time capsule. So it's a possibility.
Will be found 100 years from now.
Perhaps.
Some futuristic world or whatever.
Now, when we're again back in '83, we were allowed to leave campus school to go eat during lunch. Was that the same with you guys back then, or
We
did you
could
have to
leave.
eat there?
We could leave the campus. I remember eating at the cafeteria a bit, but I guess as soon as we got licenses, we were riding to a buddy's house or we were going to McDonald's or something like that.
Did you
We
ever go
would.
to our grandmother's house for lunch?
I don't think so. I don't think we ever did that. I just remember either doing some kind of fast food place or going to one of my friends. Um, I don't remember if she made us meals every time or if it was like I think maybe we just had hot pockets or something like that, and we would just like listen to music or something. It's like, oh no, we got to go back to school, because they lived. I guess they lived really close to the school, so that was like the thing to do.
Yeah, I would go home and cook something for myself for lunch. I hardly ever went out to, unless I went to Allsup's and got a bean burrito or something. But usually I went home
Uh,
and made myself something. I
we
don't
went to
then, so
we went to either what's that taco place? Taco Villa,
Taco
Taco
Bell.
Village, or something, or the one of the pizza joints. But I think Wednesday, oh, what there was one day they did chicken fried steak. That's the only time I stayed and ate in school. It's when they served chicken fried steak. It was really good. So that was good. So not much change, I guess.
Yes, not. I
So
remember going and hanging out in the band hall. So I suppose maybe sometimes I brought something and then ate it really quick so that I could, hang out and practice in between classes.
so I'm trying to go when you mentioned that they build a new building on the south side. I know they build a new one on the north side just across the street.
Oh,
Yeah, there's a that building that's right across the band. Is it 16th Street? I think. Yeah, they build a building there for band, but then where on the south side? I can't picture
I
where they
guess
built.
kind of adjacent to where the tennis courts were. I don't
Yeah,
know what it looks like now, but it was the Chief Davidson Band Hall in honor of no, the
yeah.
Ryan Davidson in memory of OT and
OT.
Chief Davidson, the first band directors at the school.
Yeah, OT is a legend. I'm sure you've heard stories.
Yes, and
Our
I
era.
remember seeing him as a band director, when I would go to football games or I had Julie or other family members in the bands, we would go during summer band and just watch them rehearse. And if they got in trouble, they had to run a lap around the band. And
How old were you in '83?
I was two in '83.
Oh, so you didn't go to any football games then to watch us march or watch
If
your
I
cousin
did,
cheer.
I don't remember.
No, no, he was. How much older were your sisters than you? Christy was 2 years older than you, and
Yes.
Julie was
And
what, 4 or 5 years older than you.
and Julie was 3 years older than Christy.
Okay, so she was 5 years older than you,
Mhm.
or she is 5 years older. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So I remember growing up, I guess before the grunge thing really took off and Julie was into Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. And I remember seeing those posters and I guess Skid Row. Well, I remember one of them had a nose piercing and an ear piercing. There was a little chain that went down like that. And I was like, dude, I don't know, man. That's kind of weird. But music was cool. I liked Metallica.
I remember there was a Tina Marie. She's the one I remember with the ears and the nose, the chain hooking it. I don't remember a guy.
It was, I don't remember who it was, but it's one of those hair bands, you know, the
Hmm.
tight pants and the big old hair things.
Did you go to concerts? Let's talk about concerts. Did you go rock
Let's
concerts
see.
back in high school or college?
Yeah, I saw Marilyn Manson.
Oh wow.
I saw Pantera. Let's see. Kid Rock, Third Eye Blind, L7, uh, Anthrax.
Oh my God, they're hardcore.
Yeah, Garbage. I remember Garbage was interesting because the lead singer Shirley Manson, she pronounced it, I think she said Lubach.
She's a cool chick. If you ever get a chance to watch her interview of how she auditioned for that band, she was so nervous that she just completely, absolutely flopped.
Oh
She was a
wow, I didn't know.
redhead, correct?
She's a redhead, yes, and
Yeah.
she was like, "This is it. Like this was my dream, and I screwed it up." And they could tell that she was really nervous, so they gave her a second opportunity. And she just knew that if she didn't do it right, that was the end of her music career because she was so incredibly nervous to try out for this band. Little music trivia there. I want to go back to when you talked about your little goth period in high school. What did your parents think about that?
I guess I remember um I guess it was because I was just a quiet kid and I wasn't like I was like into music and didn't get into a lot of trouble. They might have thought it was weird, but they didn't really like say you can't do that specifically. I guess they let me be weird, and I guess I grew out of it, I suppose.
Any of your friends dress goth like you? Or were you,
I had a couple.
you had a following, in other words?
Christy, my sister, she was kind of doing the little goth thing at the same time. Um,
I
that was
remember.
probably right around when we used to hang out at the kettle all the time. It was me and Christy and a bunch of our mutual friends.
I remember seeing photos of Christy during that goth period. Definitely. I think that's cool that your parents were, they let you express your individuality. I just wondered because with your mom being a police officer, I didn't know if you know she was stricter in terms of how you presented yourself. Um, your dad's so laid back, so
They've always been really supportive, and I'm very thankful for that. No, I don't remember them, you know, I never like, did like I would never went like way over the top. The worst I did was like his eyeliner and the nails and stuff. Um, but yeah, they just let me do what I wanted to do, like express myself. And for that period of time, it was wearing black. And then I got super into like Jimi Hendrix and stuff, and I wore tie dye for a period all the time. So that
What
was that.
about any ink? Do you have any ink?
Nope.
No
No,
ink, huh?
no tattoos. I've got
wow,
some buddies that are tattoo artists and family member that's into tattoos, and I've just never really. I think they're cool, and their art, but I've never really had a desire to get tatted or anything.
Well, trust me, if you get one, if you get your first one, you won't stop there.
That's what
You
I
won't.
hear.
You won't. They're pretty addictive. So, well, cool.
yeah. I got my first tattoo at 32, and I heard that same thing, Flo, and I thought, oh no, this is a one and done thing. I now have five.
I think I got 7 or 8. I don't know, but
Your aunt has declared to my siblings that I'm going to the infierno for my tattoos.
Oh no.
Yes. I said, Mom, I guess I'll see you there. Oh my gosh. So
so good. I'll just get. So, what's the future for Jerry Serrano?
Continue teaching, growing my program at school, and recording more. I haven't recorded or released anything in a while. I started working on music right when COVID happened, and recording is an expensive endeavor. So that whole thing got put on pause. I wasn't at the school then. I was teaching at an after school program. I couldn't do that. And I was just playing gigs. I couldn't do that either during COVID. I started driving Uber Eats though, and man, I wish they had that when I was in college, because that was a pretty cool deal.
what is do you have an unfulfilled dream in terms of your music?
Good question.
Possibly, I mean, I remember there are things that I've done that I remember dreaming about, like when I was in high school or even college, I remember dreaming that, man, it would be so amazing to perform my music with an orchestra. And I've done that twice now. I want to keep doing that. I've and regarding my music composition degree, I got to write music for orchestra, like the arrangements of my songs for orchestra when I performed with LSO. And that was like, that's been I it's been a dream, and it's something I want to do more. Is right for bigger things, bigger groups of people, because I feel like that's where the art, the real like fun is, with fellowship with other musicians and being able to enjoy time with a number of people. So yeah, I want to do that more. I want to record more. I would love to travel and perform more. I guess everything that I've done and I'm doing, but to a greater extent, I haven't traveled overseas. I'd love to do that and travel perform, everywhere I can. So those are things that I would love to do that start with just greater output, releasing more music.
But I will tell you a little bit at LSO. So the very first time I witnessed a symphony, I was in I second or third grade, and we went on a field trip to the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra, and I'd never heard classical music, and little kids don't usually like classical music. I literally, I mean, this is a true story. When they started playing, I thought that I had died and gone to heaven, or I entered some other dimension, and I have never in my it changed my life. I was mesmerized, and it awakened something in my soul. And I mean, I've loved classical music ever since. And I remember everybody was like, "Well, playing around," and I was like, "Shut up!" I was just like the world went away, and it was me and the symphony. Like it's all. And I will never, to this day, I've never forgotten that day or that memory because it impacted me so greatly. So I really hope that that is an opportunity that continues to grow for you. Um, I think that everybody should have some type of um, exposure, lessons, opportunities to hear classical music because you hear its influence in so many other different things, and it's really kind of a foundational music for a lot of things. I don't know; it's very impactful. You don't hear a lot of people talk about classical music anymore, and I I wish more young people would embrace it um, before we
Yeah,
lose it, before it's gone, and people don't even know what classical music is.
I agree completely. I remember well, of course, seeing my sisters in band, I like just from hearing that as a kid was like, wow, I want to do this. This is it right here. Um, I think the first time I heard an orchestra, it might have been um, with school. We went on a field trip and I heard the Amarillo Symphony play. I think it was the Nutcracker. And I remember being mesmerized, and I took my program to the where the orchestra was, and I got autographs of people, from people because I was the same thing. It was mesmerizing. It was like, this is it. I remember being in jazz band in the eighth grade with Mr. Giddens, and like just being so excited to play jazz music, like feeling like this is what I was put here to do, to do this thing.
Very cool.
It's like back when we grew up, at least, like the movies in the 70s and the 80s, a lot of the movies were it was music composed. Like I had to Google his name, John Williams, for an example. And it's cool when you hear that song, and that's Star Wars or that's Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know what I mean? It's now the movies today is mostly someone's song or something, which a lot of that's died. And I would love to have that come back and have these young people compose these music for the movies.
It's true, man. I was just thinking about the last time that I remember. I know there's still music composing being done, but a lot of it is also somebody with a computer and a lot of studio like it's synthesized. Um, but even like Harry Potter, that's John Williams as well. So his career spanned this huge amount of time.
Yeah, my son, he went. They played here several years ago. And my son and my ex-wife, they went to listen to John Williams, and he says it's one of the best concerts he's ever heard, ever. And then he compares to rock music. So
Jerry, if you could work with any composer or any musician, like if you were just granted this one wish to work
dead or alive.
dead or alive with any composer or musician, who would
Hmm.
it
Man, that's really hard because it's like, well, if I'm thinking, if I'm thinking classical, I've always loved the music of Shostakovich or Debussy. But if I'm thinking jazz, has to be Miles Davis because his artistic output spans, like John Williams, it spanned decades and decades from the 40s to even 1992 is when Miles Davis passed away. He put out an album, I believe, the year before, and it was one of the, if not the first album that had jazz music with rap in it. So
Oh wow.
he was innovative his whole life. So in jazz, it would be Miles Davis. If it were classical, it might be like Debussy or Shostakovich. If it were if it were rock, it might be Kurt Cobain. If it were country, maybe somebody like Merle Haggard, who had this really long, amazing career.
Wow, those are all amazing, amazing musicians for sure.
Yeah. So we're almost at the 2 hour limit. You know that one question you ask everyone.
Yes,
If
I'm gonna ask two questions. So,
okay.
question number one: what's the last concert you went to?
Ooh, the last concert I went to. Oh man.
That long ago, huh?
Man, I'm playing so much. It's like I know that there's a lot of good music, but it's like, man, I can't go. I have a gig, or you know what? The last concert I remember now, it was Carmina Burana, the LSO. Played Carmina Burana recently, and it was amazing. Lubbock Chorale. It was huge orchestra and Lubbock Chorale, and it was a great show. And I got to open that show. I played right before that performance, and I wrote an arrangement of Over the Rainbow for my voice and a string quartet, and we premiered it that night before Carmina Burana. That was a great time. But yeah,
Cool.
LSO Carmina Burana was my last concert.
Well, I want to ask. Go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry.
What was the last concert you went to?
Oh shit. Peter Frampton and then Jason Bonham had a band that played a lot of Led Zeppelin.
Awesome. The last
So
two concerts I went to were Foo Fighters and The Roots.
nice. Oh, Roots. I like those guys. Yeah.
I went
Um,
to Foo Fighters when they opened their most recent tour. It was amazing.
and that's the guys who does the Tonight Show with Fallon, right?
Roots, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
just
came.
had a question for him, but I forgot.
I'm
Oh
sorry.
well. No, no, it's
Oh,
okay.
I was
It's
just
okay.
thinking about 80s bands. I saw Bon Jovi about ten or so years ago in Lubbock.
Really?
Yeah, and it was the last concert that Richie Sambora played with Bon Jovi. I believe like the night after there was a news report that Richie quit the band. I don't know what happened, but they
Some
sounded
must have
great.
happened in Lubbock.
Yeah, I don't know. They had a bad burrito or something.
Also burrito.
I'm going to ask the question and while you're still thinking. So we always ask everyone. Um, well, there weren't smartphones in 2000, right? No.
Well, no,
No,
that's not the question, but that's a good question.
Oh,
Oh no, I remember. I remember? Can I ask? Uh,
sorry.
when you were playing the it's when you were 6 years old, the little organ or the little piano, did your parents film you? They have it on 8 millimeter or camcorder? Were you ever filmed? Is there a film of you playing at a young age?
the only no. The I think the earliest thing that I can remember that I've seen is in I guess maybe my either eighth grade or ninth grade. One of my friends posted on Facebook. It was a video of that they took while we were trying to play a Marilyn Manson song. So, and I'd never seen that until a few years ago, since we were, kids playing Marilyn Manson. So I remember thinking, wow, we've come a long way.
Cool, cool. All right, Lisa, it's all yours now.
about 9 years ago, I dragged my husband to a Marilyn Manson concert, and all he could do is look at me and go, WTF? Like, why am I here? Because he was not into that music. I'm like, because it's Marilyn Manson. What are you talking about? And yeah,
Did he do a remake of Sweet Dreams?
Yeah, that was the first song that the first time I heard them, it was, I guess, a music video. Yeah, back then it was like there was some channel that had music videos, and that's how we like found out what was new and cool. And I remember thinking, "Whoa, this is very different stuff, man. It's kind of heavy," and he's like kind of doing the whole shock rock thing. And I was a goth kid at the time, so I was all about it.
yeah. I lived my youth and adulthood because I didn't get to do all those things in my youth. So I had, arrested development. Anyway, so two questions. Question number one is, what would you tell your younger self? What, knowing what you know now and the experiences that you've had, and it can be anything. No, all subjects on the table. Knowing what you know now with all the experiences that you had, what would you tell your younger self?
Maybe it's okay to be true to yourself or something to the effect that it gets better. Because I remember there was a time when I was a little skinny kid, so and I looked different, and people would push me around and stuff, and um, I hung to my I was a solitary person a lot of the time, and I would just sit in my room and practice, and I didn't have a whole lot of friends for part of the time in high school, except for the small group of kids that I played music with. So I remember feeling like I didn't really fit in a whole lot, but the only time that I felt that I fit in or mattered was when I was playing music. And I guess that was a part of what made me feel like that's the reason why I'm here. So maybe something to the effects that it's okay to feel like maybe you don't belong or something like that, but because um, you're here to I suppose be a mentor, be inspiring to someone else, maybe if you are true to what you see yourself doing in life.
Hmm.
So, and then the second part of the question is, if you had smartphones back in 2000, or whatever year you graduated, or in high school, is there a memory that you wish that you could go back and have had recorded, or possibly?
Oh, I would say maybe things that I'm really happy about, like maybe when my bands that did jazz music, whenever we played at the Red, White, and Blue Review my senior year in high school, um, it may have been recorded, but I've never seen a video of that. That was so much fun. Or when I won the outstanding soloist at the Tech Jazz Festival my senior year of high school, if there was a video of what that was like, or even the first time that I played in public with my first band in the eighth grade, we played at the talent show. Funnily enough, the Smells Like Teen Spirit music video, they were in a gym, right? And they're rocking out in a gym. And in the eighth grade talent show, we played Smells Like Teen Spirit in the gym.
So
That's
were
so.
you guys good?
Man, I feel like maybe there were some instrumental parts that were good, but my singing was not, I wouldn't say that it was very good at the time.
Well, Kurt Cobain, he was
I
he
just
was pretty.
remember I just remember trying to scream and it not feeling so good. You know, ah! Um, but yeah, we had a lot of fun at that time. I just wanted to see what it sounded like, you know.
I would love to see a video of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's so.
cool. Well, Jerry, thank you for coming on the show. And this is a part where we ask for your parting words, and then Lisa will say hers on our behalf, on my behalf. So, uh, your parting words.
My parting words. Thank y'all for having me on this show. It's been a lot of fun. reminiscing, growing up in Plainview. Um, we it's like just thinking about music and growing up, it's such a different world now. It's like back then, if you wanted to find music, it was either at Hastings. If it wasn't there, then it's like, where can you go find music? I remember being on band trips, and like, let's say we stopped for lunch at the mall, and I would go to the music store, especially if it was in a bigger city, and finds like the stuff that wasn't in Plainview. And that's where I would just pick albums that looked cool and just buy them on a guess to see what it was like. So I guess it's a different world now than the 1990s, but it was fun reminiscing.
Yeah. What was the name of the store in Plainview?
The music store
Okay.
Hastings.
No, before then.
Oh,
It was like, was it okay radio or
I don't remember.
uh,
I, I
guys, again, comment below. It was there on like Quincy, maybe to the east of on Fifth Street, east of Quincy, and to the south of Fifth Street. Oh, I remember. Anyway, Lisa.
I opened. I moved back to Lubbock. I guess my sophomore or junior year. No, my junior year of college. I transferred and then went back, and they were opening the really big Hastings Books, Records, and Video. And I opened that store. That was where I worked in college at Hastings. And I thought, oh yeah, this is it. I can, get a discount on all this music. And that was also, they had transitioned to cassettes from 8-track, and that was a fun time. Anyway, I thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show. And, I'm getting to know this whole other side of you, and it's really fun to know that we have so much commonality, even though we don't really know each other, and including all the same music that we really love. It's just been really, really delightful to spend this time with you and to see you after so many years, and to get to know this side of you. And I'm just really thrilled, and I'm so appreciative that you agreed to come on the show. And your aunt and your dad are going to be really excited to see us together tonight.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for asking me. It's been a lot of fun. My memory isn't what it used to be, I suppose, but had fun reminiscing and seeing you again.
Thank you.
And it was nice to meet you. And and I could wish you continued success on what you do. And hopefully we'll have one of your songs out there by someone or for a movie. One of your compositions, that would be pretty good. That would be cool. And
Yeah,
hey,
love it.
you're on our show
There you
first.
go. Another
Yes,
check on the list.
There you
yes,
go.
yes. So
Well,
I'm going to tell you before you leave, Jerry, dream big, go for all your dreams. Life is short. Each day you're the youngest you're ever going to be. And, you're hearing it from two 60-year-olds. So, you're not that timid, shy high school kid anymore. So, go after go after your dreams,
yeah,
and
kick life in the balls, man. Take
yeah,
control, brother.
yes,
All right.
we will be there to cheer you on and to support you and promote you. And I hope to come and see you play live.
Thank you.
Oh, we're gonna be in Plainview in July for the all school reunion. If you have nothing on the 18th and 19th, if you have nothing to do,
That
Hey,
stop
would be
by. We're staying at the president's house.
oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, we of course I got the president's suite. Lisa's got some little small little closet. But yeah, we're gonna be that. Our goal is we're gonna try to do a live show. It'll be our first live show. We're gonna try to do it. If not, it will be a recorded show like we're doing right now. But that is our goal.
we'll be
So
down at
stop by
the brewery, so in front of the coffee shop, setting it.
from
Oh,
5 to 7. We'll be there.
cool.
Yeah, so swing by, come say hi, and say hi to your growing fans through our show, and come give me a hug, please.
Yep. And I'm selling these, so maybe your cousin Lisa will buy one for you.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Good night.
You bet.
Good night.
Good night.
That was a good show. Doesn't seem like nothing's changed much from 83 to 2000. Yeah, he mentioned about what he grew up. It's just, kids suck. They really do in high school, and but the bullying and just it's yeah, I know. And as an adult, when you have kids, you hope doesn't go through them. But he's done well, grown out of it. So good for him, man. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we had him on, and
Yeah,
very talented musician. And like I said, I didn't really know him because he was 2 years old when you and I
yeah,
graduated school, and I never went back to Plainview. Um,
right.
the last time that I saw him was in 2007 when our grandmother died, and so it was fun to get to know him. I mean, yes, we're related, but
Yeah, you're more like an auntie.
yeah, I'm I'm the oldest granddaughter on my maternal side of the family, and the next daughter is my sister, and or the next granddaughter, and she's 6 years plus younger than me. So I was kind of out of the picture with that whole group of cousins.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's just check who's. We're gonna have another show next week, and we're gonna continue the music, the musician, and it's gonna be um, summertime in Nashville. With oh Jesus Christ, I need to edit this. With Summer Smith. My apologies, Summer Smith, who from Plainview, who went to Nashville to try her luck at country music. So sorry, Summer, that Smith, but and her. Well, I'll explain why it's called Summertime in Nashville. We'll ask her during the show, and she could explain why.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Thanks for
night. Peace and love. Peace and love.